Hello, and welcome to the I Love You But podcast. I'm Heather, and this is my sister,
Rian. Each week, we will revisit relics of our childhoods using our multiple master's degrees
to critically evaluate the crap that consumed our misspent youth, so join us.
Sisters, latchkey kids, cuspers, and lazy feminists as we look back at our past to say, I love you, but...
How'd you waste time this week, Ryan? I had a cathathon for 2 days, and then it was off. It was very confusing to people. They didn't understand.
Does Albie still mad about it? The dog?
No, but the boot is in my closet, so if he ever annoys me, I'll put it back on.
What did he do? What was he doing? How did you know he was mad about it?
He would, look at it real strange, and then he refused to move. He would not move for the boot. Which is like, dude, I'm really going to step on you and then fall, and then it's going to be bad. This is not a great time for you to act like that.
Fucking worst.
Yeah. It's fine. And I've been rereading furiously the Maiden Lane Regency romance series.
Oh.
Yeah, it's super steamy, so I'm enjoying that. I think that Mercury is finally out of retrograde, so I'm excited about that.
I don't know. You're going to the emergency room. That seems real retrograde-y type behavior.
No, we don't know that that's happening. We didn't have to talk about that. I'm gonna have to cut that out.
Oh.
I wasted a bunch of time on some work bullshit that I also don't want to talk about. And I watched a good show. I watched True Detective Night Country.
Oh.
The season that's set in Alaska. And I was like, oh, Jeff, how are you going to handle Alaska? They were like, 14th day of night. It was like, So,
that's going to be real fun.
I bought a bunch of clothing, more clothing than I've ever bought in one short span in my entire life. Which was an interesting choice considering the work bullshit that's going on. But this is not a joke that you'll get, but it's a joke for possibly our listeners. I'm wondering now that I've bought this resort clothing and we're preparing to go to this resort in Mexico, if I should make Mom watch The White Lotus.
I didn't watch that, but I think you should make her watch the Kath and Whatever movie. The one with the two friends. They go...
It's raining. Oh, Barb and Star. Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
That one? Is this a shit show?
No, it's fine. It hasn't rained in 2 months.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was really funny today because it's 95 degrees here, which is hot. But before I walked outside, every person I saw was like, "It's really hot out there."
Oh,
I'm so used to Texas hot. I walk outside and I'm like, "This is not bad.
This feels fine."
I can breathe. It's not that bad.
I had some thoughts. I basically didn't watch anything, and then all of a sudden, once I watched True Detective Night Country, then I started watching everything.
Oh. So
I watched that new Guy Ritchie movie, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, and
okay.
I've had a couple of thoughts about movie conventions lately. One, so it used to be that when society was kind of fucked up, there'd be a lot of horror movies out.
Oh, okay.
It was a whole thing. And then it was supposed to stop because society would get better. And what I've noticed is that it doesn't get better now. Horror movies just haven't stopped. They've been popular for 20 years now. They never stop.
Aren't we on Saw 300 or something?
And then also, I think that action sequences are the new choreography in movies, and it makes me really sad because I really would just I want more Magic Mike and less destructive action sequences. But and then I have a PSA for people who were curious about my weighted blanket experiment that I was doing. Follow up on that. It does help me sleep really well. Weighted blankets trap in fart smells. So that's mostly a PSA for you if you have your kid sleep underneath one. Just be careful in the morning because you might pass out opening that thing up.
He's not still enough for it to stay on him. So here's my weighted blanket update.
Oh.
I stole his for like one night and then forgot. And then I have attempted to get him to sleep in his own bed again and have failed the last 2 nights in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And the first night he's like, I need my special blanket. Yeah, but it won't stay on him because he's not still in the night. So, he's like, I need the
need a
blanket.
heavier one.
I need the apparently.
Get a heavier one.
One that like locks to the bed. I'm kidding.
It stopped raining. How else did you waste time this week?
What?
Will you tell how Elliot wasted time that makes me really happy?
I haven't finished telling you about how I wasted time.
How many times has he watched a certain movie?
Oh, we have now watched the first Harry Potter movie 4 times since Saturday night, and it is
4
Tuesday.
times? I'm so glad he wants to be a wizard. I love it. All right, how else did you waste time?
Yes. So we finished the first Harry Potter book. So I finally convinced him because someone told him that the first Harry Potter movie was going to be way too scary for him. But I finally convinced him. You said that. You said that to him.
I did? The first book?
The first movie. You said the movie was way too scary.
There's a great big snake at the end.
That's in the second one.
Oh, who's the bad guy?
The professor, and he's got like Voldemort on the back of his head or whatever. Like,
well, that's creepy.
Okay, this child saw the most recent Ghostbusters movie in the theater with Ben and I. Like, and there was like a fucking ice demon. Like, I think the bar is much higher now.
We couldn't handle Meow Wolf. I'm just saying.
Yeah, so like he watched it and he's fine. But I was like, if you want to stop, then we'll stop. So we had popcorn. That was great. Anyways, how else did I waste time? I haven't had a lot of time to waste. I've been grading and being a really, really good teacher.
Yay! That's awesome.
I did start watching Interview with a Vampire, the new Anne Rice adaptation on AMC, which is pretty good.
Okay.
It's queer. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's better than the...
That was the movie, if you were paying attention.
Okay, so this is really overtly queer.
Yeah.
Which my tired ass brain really prefers.
Not queer baiting.
Yeah, like I don't want to have to think about it.
I started watching the 2nd season of Discovery of Witches on Netflix.
Okay. I watched that because that was one of the reasons I got one of the channels that I paid for. And I watched the 2nd season, and then I kind of like started the 3rd and I lost interest. Like, Matthew Good, you're not hot enough to keep me watching this.
He's so tall and skinny. Anything else, my friend?
I'm sure there was something. Yeah. You know how one way I didn't waste time this week?
I don't know.
I discovered a great tool in my AI program that I use that provides students feedback on their written assignments electronically.
Yeah.
And so they're all like, and it's really great because it gives them like bulleted like strengths, areas of strength. And like I was doing like voice recorded or voice to text feedback, like, which was really entertaining because they were like, you said that like the only Christians you had for my writing was, they had to like really kind of figure out.
You were like, and also these Muslims. These Christians and these Muslims.
And the Christians and the Muslims are the only thing I have to say about this response to your essay on ideals of democracy.
I'm glad. Is it one of the tools that I sent you on that handout?
It was the one that I told you I had already been paying for that I always use for everything else. So it was just it has so many things in it.
Cool.
So I'm like going around telling all the teachers.
The Magic School.
Magic School AI, yeah. And so I have the...
Hey, Magic School AI.
We would love some sponsorship.
Yes.
As 2 people in education, one of whom is a high school classroom teacher who is using the fuck out of your program. And like, I'm like, it's like $14 a month. And I said that to another teacher and they were like, oh, a month? And I was like, that's what I pay for one of the channels. And that does nothing for me. Yeah, no. Like, yeah. Yeah. $14 a month to fucking grade these 77. Yeah. Fuck yes. And so I told him, like, because like my one kid who I have that knows me pretty well, he was like, did you use an AI program to write this feedback? And I was like, 100%. He's like, yeah. He was like, there were bullet points, and I was like, that's not Ms. Davis.
That's so funny.
And I was like, now don't get me wrong, I read what you wrote and I graded it, but
Yes.
and I was like,
Yeah.
and then the other thing that I used to justify it, because I know some people get up in their feelings about that, is like, with this way, I can guarantee I'm not being biased in my grading.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
Well, as long as the tool isn't biased, so you do still have to watch for that. But also, you can use one of the other tools that I sent you to do custom assignments. So you can actually, like, tailor their assignment to help them fill in gaps that they have, which takes way too much time as an actual instructor to do. Like, nobody has time to do that. But, like, these tools can help you do that for them so that if they want to improve, they can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Remind me about that later. I won't waste our time talking about something that came up today. So.
Let's talk about AI tools for 4 hours.
This is now an AI tool podcast.
And we are not experts.
Well, no.
But do you know what we might have some expertise in, Ryan Davis?
I don't know if we do or not.
The television show Saved by the Bell, I think we could perhaps be experts on.
So when I started laughing earlier and you were like, and I was like, hold on. And you were talking about like possibly not being well.
Mm-hmm.
The episode I watched at the very end, there's a song that's like, how am I supposed to live without you? And so like that song just immediately started going in my head.
Because I need to go somewhere where they can do lab work and like, you know, my regular doctor's office.
It was not a logical reaction or controlled. It just was like
Good times.
So,
I remember the theme song to Saved by the Bell very much.
Word.
So much that I feel like I probably could sing it. And
I could 100% sing it.
Yeah.
I did. I used to in high school. That was something that we did to entertain ourselves because we didn't have cell phones.
That's nice. I remembered the Max.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the episode with caffeine pills.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Screech was annoying and Lisa had money and Mr. Belding.
He's not your principal. He's your principal.
How much did you like how very much he was involved in these kids' lives?
How big is this school? Like, what? How many kids go there?
It's one hallway.
Although the episode I watched at the very beginning, they were actually walking down a different hallway. So by season 4...
You know that when it started and then it moved to like SoCal, like he was in like the Midwest in the very first season.
Yeah.
And then they moved to Southern California. And so apparently there's these like hardcore conspiracy theorists that are like, the whole rest of the episodes are just a fever dream of Zach. Because they changed the song and everything. I was like, what?
Ooh.
No.
Those are the people that you need to ask, hey, how did you waste time this week? Because they have much more interesting things to say.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but
I wrote a whole conspiracy theory about...
I do feel like this show was how Southern California won teenagers. You know, like I feel like in the 80s and 90s there was kind of like this battle of like the Midwest and New York, like New England and like SoCal and like...
Do you mean an East Coast, West Coast feud?
No, because I said that there was the Midwest as well, because you had John Hughes in there. You cannot forget the John Hughes contingent of the 80s teen fascination.
Yes.
So I think that Saved by the Bell tipped it over.
But so I would say that like the grittier like John Hughes was like earlier 80s, and I see like the California obsession being like the late 80s into the early 90s, right?
Pretty sure Pretty Pink came out in 86.
Okay.
So
the early to mid 80s. John Hughes.
Or the mid to late 80s, Hedwig.
And then the late 80s.
In my early mid-teens.
The 1989s.
The 1989s.
The
Yeah.
early 90s.
They're my favorite band.
1989. We only play songs that came out in 1989.
That'd be a pretty sweet ass band. If we covered all genres. Every Salt and
We
Pepper,
only play songs.
White Snake, Madonna, all of it.
All of it. All the country.
Run DMC, all of it.
Everything. Any song that came out in 1989. I'm going to make us a playlist. All the songs that came out in 1989.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the 1989.
It's the 1980s. So we'll put that in our idea with all of our other bands.
And what else do you remember about Saved by the Bell? Or what surprised you, I guess?
What surprised me? Nothing.
Okay.
I watched the shit out of the show. Like so much this show I watched. I watched it in reruns, right?
I forgot that Zach talked to the camera. Did he always do that?
I did forget that. And I think, yes, that he did break the third wall. So I feel like that was something that we hadn't seen in the show.
It made me, and I didn't do enough research into this, but I was like, did they just take Ferris Bueller and make him have a TV show but call it something different? It was that same kind of thing, where it was oh, he's kind of the cheeky guy and whatever.
Well, I feel like they tried to make a Ferris Bueller's Day Off TV show.
Because they probably did.
I really feel like they did.
The first 3 things that I wrote down after that all had exclamation points, and they were acid wash jeans, fringe, cow print, scrunchies,
feathered bangs, Kelly's bangs situation.
Ooh, yeah, that was a whole ozone layer right there.
The movie Hairspray had nothing on the 89s.
No, the 89s were very serious, and the 1990 were very serious about the Hairspray.
Yes.
The girls' locker room at Strickland Junior High was aqua knit.
I was talking to some students the other day, and I don't know, we were talking about clothes, we were talking about pants, we were talking about, and I was like, something about high rise, and they were like, oh yeah, that's not in anymore. And I was like, oh, wait, are the 90s clothes out again? And they were like, yeah. I was like, thank God, y'all. It was bad then.
No.
It never needed to come back. No. Looking at the way these people are dressed, it's like...
Yeah. Not but 1, but 2 girls in full denim dresses.
Yeah, it's the episode that I watched. She's like, my denim queen, because she's in a full denim miniskirt, denim jacket, and probably a denim tube
denim
top.
Scrunchie.
Saved by the Bell, brought to you by denim.
So which episodes did you watch?
I watched an episode.
Okay, which episode did you watch?
Watch this show for some
An episode?
I watched an episode. I watched, it's called The Last Dance. I watched the one where Zach and Kelly break up.
Which season is that in?
Season 4.
Oh, good. Okay,
which
so it was in the 90s.
1991. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't know if there was a rule.
It's fine. I watched season 1, episode 14, Zach tapes. And it was really confusing because I can't. So I tried to read something about this on Wikipedia. I guess before the mid 90s, there was something about when you put the show in syndication, they showed it in the order it was filmed and not in the order it was released. So basically, I watched an episode, and then the very next episode was when Zach and Slater meet for the first time. But in the episode that I had just watched that came before, they were already friends. So it's very confusing.
So when you were watching it, was it when it had Haley's Mills, or did it already have...
No. I skipped the Haley Mills season.
Okay.
And then I just started with that.
It is season 1,
but it's actually season 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because originally it was called Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
That's right. I know. What is that face?
I didn't look that up. That's just knowledge I have rattling around in my brain, taking up space.
You know something I forgot? Jessie is our feminist icon. How did I forget that? What a face.
Is she?
Yeah, she's our lazy feminist icon.
She still dated AC Slater. And he called her mama.
Yeah. That's true.
I mean, it was pretty slim pickings around in that high school.
Yeah, they had the one hallway, dude. What are they supposed to do?
Was she gonna date Screech?
Date Belding. Ugh.
No, that would have been Kelly.
So in this episode, it was called the Zach tapes. I guess I'll talk and then you can talk and then I'll bookend you with, because I watched 2 episodes.
Episode.
And Zach learned about subliminal messaging. And so he
I remember this one.
And Screech recorded messages and mixed it together with a really famous dude that everybody was listening to his song. And that ended up with Screech in drag in the girls' locker room so he could switch out the tapes, because they were all walking around with these cassette recorders that they were listening to their music on instead of jam boxes. Walking around here like Agent Dale Cooper with my cassette recorder. Diane, how you like this jam? So that was fun. And I just thought they realized, the girls remember back at one point and they're like, wait a minute, that quiet girl in the locker room, if you took off her hair. And so it's like literally they film the kid that plays Screech and they pull his wig off. And took off that dress, and they like pull off that, and he's like covering up his little body.
Oh, yeah,
This is
yeah.
like, this show is a mess. And then I just ended it with like, first of all, scientifically, if they were playing a song over the loudspeaker with subliminal messaging that Zach was the best, all the boys would have been falling for him. So I did appreciate that it ended with Slater pretending to fall for him, because I thought at least that was good. But also, I just think it's so wonderful that Zach is so fucking important, that everybody, the teacher, all these kids, Mr. Belding, all had time to waste time to teach him a lesson about the dangers
of subliminal
messaging.
The dangers of being a self-obsessed psychopath.
Yeah. So you watched the one where they broke up or whatever? Did they go on a break? Is it that one? Is that show? That's a different show. Never mind. You never watch Friends. Never mind.
Oh no, I never watched Friends.
Ross and Rachel famously were on a break, and he cheated.
And then there was a lobster. I don't know. Whatever.
Tell me about the last dance between your hacking.
Fine, no. Okay, so in the episode The Last Dance, Zach and Kelly have been dating for a while and are in love with each other.
No.
And there is a costume ball coming up. And I guess previously there had been an episode where Kelly's gigantic family, so she's like 6 brothers and sisters apparently, like her dad lost her job or something. Anyway, so she's having financial woes. And she's like, I can't go to a dance. I can't be in a band. I gotta get a job. Because at this point, they had also formed their band, the Zach Attack.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lisa quickly comes in and is like, hey, they're hiring at the Max. So Kelly gets a job waitressing at the Max, which is now has a new manager.
He doesn't do magic.
He just, it's not that guy. It's not that guy. If it had been that guy, Zach and Kelly probably never would have broken up. When I was trying to figure out what episode this was, and I was Googling things, I saw something that was like, the most hated man on Saved by the Bell.
Oh, shit.
Like, people care too much about things that don't matter. Why do you care so much about people that don't exist? What is wrong with you? So yes, there's a new manager. His name is Jeff, and he has just transferred from, I don't know, somewhere in where it's called Bruins. Where are the Bruins? Boston? I don't know, whatever. He is a sophomore at UCLA.
Oh, okay.
Who's like 38.
Mm-hmm.
Or appears to be about 35. And basically, like, Kelly, he has a thing for Kelly.
Milwaukee?
Yeah, Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Bruins?
Pretty sure that was the Boston Bruins. I think the Bruins
No, I don't.
I think Jacob's a fan of the Bruins, and Jacob only likes teams from Boston.
Okay. Jacob, tell us.
Jacob,
Google, tell us.
Listen to our podcast.
Jacob, you know you love Saved by the Bell. Come on.
And you mildly enjoy us. Oh.
Okay, so this old man is pretending to be a sophomore and dating Kelly.
Yeah, so they, he has a thing for her, she thinks for him. And, like, the thing I didn't remember was the audience. So, like, anytime something sexy happens or someone says something, say, ooh, it's like being in a fucking middle school classroom. Like,
Because that's what it was.
She's like, oh, it's okay that I'm here. And he's like, well, I'll miss you. And she's like, oh, you will? And he's like, I always miss you when you're not here.
Yeah.
And then, like, Zach brings her dress, and he's like, you can give me kisses or something. Really? Ooh. It's really fucking. And then they kiss. Like, he kisses her without consent. Someone much younger than him. Yay. And then, of course, the audience is get out of here with you fucking woo girls. It's Bridie, holla.
Informed consent. Who's that?
Right, I know. So basically, like, yeah, so she kisses him, and then she feels really bad about it. And, like, her girlfriends know that she likes him because she won't stop talking about him. And then Zach's like, Kelly's being weird. And then they go to the dance, and they get crowned king and queen of the dance, of course. And he's like, you're the most beautiful queen I've ever seen. And she's like, oh, thanks, Jeff. Dun, dun, dun. And he's like,
while they were just standing there.
Yeah, they're like sitting there, so they're like smiling with their crowns on, and he's all like, Kelly, can we go outside and talk? So that's when it's more like, oh. That'd be great in an audience. Can I be a professional audience member? So then that's when Slater and Jessie they're like, where's Zach? Where's Zach? Hey, rando guy, you get on the drums. Slater's got to sing. Because we don't know where Zach is.
The Zach attack can't play.
So they start singing, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? And he's like, do you gotta sing for Jeff? And she's like, no, yes, I don't know, this is happening so fast. It wasn't supposed to be like this. He's like, I thought we'd be together forever.
No.
And then he's like,
did the audience go, ew?
Ew. Someone in the audience goes, you're in high school.
Calm down.
She's not even gonna go to college with you, motherfucker. She's moving to Beverly Hills. Anyway, so then he's like, well, how about one last dance? And she's like, I'd like that. And she's like, still friends? He's like, always. And, like, that's it.
That's it?
I remembered it, like, for some reason, I remembered it being, like, way more dramatic. Like, I remembered, like, more crying.
That's because every breakup I've ever had is more dramatic than that.
It was like
the kind of relationship people were like, ooh.
They're just like dancing.
So lazy.
It was incredibly lazy. Like, incredibly lazy. Like,
he could have at least, like, caught her kissing the guy and then had feelings about it. Like,
I mean, maybe there was more, because it wasn't to be continued, but I didn't want to charge you another $2 to watch, like...
Thank you.
the second episode. So maybe he got more up in his feelings or something and started being a punk ass bitch or something. But
Well, no doubt he was a punk ass bitch. Just like in King of the Hill, which is season 2, episode 15, where it starts with him getting a wake-up service call.
okay.
Because apparently he has all the money. He's like, and here's my computer, and here's some other shit, and all this other stuff. And I'm like, oh, Lord. This episode had both a teleplay and story credits, as though the story were so good that they had to give the story creators credit.
You know, our friend Lori had one of those when she was in college. She had to pay for a wake-up call service.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm pretty sure Zach has parents, and apparently his parents have money, because he has a wake-up service.
Well, his parents probably then are working too much. They can't wake him up.
I was worried about Slater, because I think he might only have one pair of jeans, those acid wash jeans that appeared in the previous episode. Do you recall? Did he wear those
He
on
wore
stage?
them a lot, but I remember his pants, he had like the same style of pants, like the cut. But they came in, so he was wearing black ones in the episode I watched, but like they had the weird buckles, and then they like parachuted.
The pockets came
yeah,
out,
the pockets, and they were very puffy around the leg, and then they kind of like tapered down.
Tapered, yep.
And they were like kind of high-waisted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Having trouble reading your handwriting.
The question I asked was, how much time does Screech spend in lockers? Because in this episode, the premise is that they have moved to high school, and it's the first day, and Zach is going to convince Kelly that they're in love with each other, and he's going to do that by having the locker next to her. Well, then here comes Slater, the new guy, and he's a tough kid, and he doesn't want to move lockers, so then he's like, Screech and I are going to share lockers, and so all of a sudden then Screech is in the locker, and in the last episode I watched, Screech was in lockers.
Like, he spent a lot of time in lockers.
It's too much time being in there.
He's quite small.
And then Lisa was excited because her locker was by the boys' bathroom. All I could think about was you and how mad you were that your classroom was across from the boys' bathroom.
Well, really, it wasn't that. Like, I think it's like people would walk down the hall and be like, "Oh, ugh," and I'd be like, I can't. Like, I guess I'm just desensitized to it. Like, I couldn't smell it. But yeah,
she was excited because that meant boys passed her multiple times a day. Like, go to the bathroom. Right. I forgot that Max was a magician because I don't think he did any magic in the other episode. That was fine. For those of you who know and love this show, did Kelly ever get a personality? I'm worried about her. As far as I can tell, she didn't have one.
That's why she had to move to Beverly Hills.
So this is another one where it was like Zach had a big plan and then he got tricked in the end. And this one, Zach and Slater ended up spending detention alone together. And I was like, how many times did they end up together trying to trick Kelly? Spending time with them, like I love this. How queer coded is this? But then apparently the way that I was reading about the show, and that they originally wrote him in to be an enemy, but then the guys got along so well in real life, they were like, no, just make them friends. So, give them other fake problems to have.
It would have been a better show if they had kept them as enemies, I think.
I mean, if they kept keeping them as enemies where they ended up in rooms together and then it turned into, like, all I could think when I was watching this was, like, Sex Education is such a better show. Big Mouth is such a better show. All the shows now are
Everything is such a better show, yeah.
So much better. And, like, was there ever a gay kid on this show? Like, what is this show? I don't understand this show.
I think maybe there was, like... maybe. I don't know. There was a fat girl once.
Oh, there was a fat girl.
There was an episode with a fat girl. And, I think, like, vaguely, like, I just remember that when you said that. I should have watched that episode. Like...
You always watch the fat girl episodes.
I know. I forgot it existed. I know. Fat girl magic. So, that's a phrase I just coined this afternoon, everybody. You're welcome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, another one that I helped with the coin this week was AP Curious.
Pretty cute.
So I was like, yeah, I hope it's okay that I got that kid to take your AP class. She's like, oh yeah, no, I got a few more who enrolled because they were like a little AP Curious. We're like, AP, like that should be the thing. No, anyways. No, so there's one episode with a fat girl that was like, be nice to fat girls. Like Zach ends up like going on a date with her somehow, and like, you know, she was like,
to a dog fight.
I can't remember what it was. Like maybe it was like one of those where it was like an auction and she like won a date with him or something.
Oh, okay.
And then she was like, you know, like definitely there's some line about like, I mean, like, obviously I know a guy like you would never want to go on a date with me, but I thought at least you wouldn't be a fucking asshole or something, you know, and so he like feels really guilty. But then I also remember an episode where there's like on the swim team and they're like, so-and-so can swim anchor, and they're like, she can't swim anchor, she is an anchor. So like that fat joke like really like stuck with me, even though like they don't actually show the person they're talking about, and I'm sure if they did she'd probably like, I don't know, be like a size 8 or something. I don't know.
She's a size 12. I was gonna watch the caffeine pills episode just because I really do love it so much, and it feels like it's a direct.
That's why. Yeah.
Well, no, because then I realized it aired in like 1990, so it didn't meet our rules. So I didn't watch it.
I needed a re-upping on the rules. My apologies.
Well, I mean, literally, what we're doing right now is the series called 80s Teens to the Max. So I was like, I kind of feel like I should stick with 80s teens, but that's fine.
I have ADHD.
You are not producing this podcast, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, I really was tempted, but I do feel like there's pretty much a direct line from that episode of Saved by the Bell to Showgirls. Like, you're like, how did Elizabeth Oh, I know exactly
how that was like her audition. Her audition tape. She just sent in the reel from that episode.
They were like, we got your audition tape. And she's like, what is an audition? They're like, I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
That movie is so god fucking awful.
I'm sorry. It's amazing. And also, addiction is a real problem and I shouldn't make fun of it, but that episode is ridiculous. So, I would like to ask you a Saved by the Bell trivia question.
Hold on, wait a minute. Was she addicted to caffeine pills, or was she just overly tired?
She was abusing
caffeine pills because she was stressing herself out trying to be a perfect human being. Is it ringing a bell for you?
If this thing is, I was Saved by the Bell. If this thing at work goes any further, should I just do that, but do it as like a dramatic monologue? Be like,
can I hear? What is it like?
Like,
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
I mean, I might have to switch excited for something else, like tired. It's true.
So done. I'm so done. I'm so goddamn motherfucking done.
So, after Saved by the Bell had aired for 4 weeks, 1, 2, 3, 4, NBC did a survey, and they showed what percent of teenage girls were watching the show. I'm assuming American teenage girls. What percent of American teenage girls were watching Saved by the Bell?
16.
I was like, that was us. We were watching that show.
It was us.
We weren't teenage girls. We were preteens, but that's okay.
They didn't survey us.
What else you got on Saved by the Bell? That kid had to dye his hair like every 2 weeks. That sucks.
Mark Paul Gosselaar. Yeah, he had to like bleach the fuck out of his hair. I can remember the first time I saw him with like his actual hair color. It was like, what the fuck?
You were like, Spike from Buffy.
Well, that poor guy had to bleach his hair and learn how to talk with a British accent.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, I don't really have anything from Saved by the Bell. I mean, it's silly. It's nostalgia. But it's another one of those where it's like, I'm not going to be like, Elliot, you got to watch this show. Wow, God. You know, you still get lines like the Mr. Belding being like, okay, the boys, any boys that dress up like girls still have to use the boys' room. Like, yeah, fuck you. But yeah, I don't know that they did ever have a gay character, so I may have to go back and watch the fat episode. Damn it, I failed. I failed you, fatties. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll move on. Head of the class.
Head of the class, yes. Speaking of teenagers who work too hard to try to be perfect.
Yeah. Do you remember this show?
I do remember this show.
Okay.
I didn't really remember anything about it.
Yeah.
But I do remember watching the show. Like I couldn't really remember what the premise was.
Yeah, I couldn't either.
Like I
I knew it was a
remember,
classroom show, and I remembered that there was an episode where they went to Russia and one of the guys had like a money-making scheme. So I did watch that episode.
see, I didn't even remember them going to Russia. Like I was surprised that it was on for as many seasons as it was. When like I started watching, I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't, but because I don't think I watched it for 5 seasons, but
No, I
yeah.
didn't.
So I just remembered like
Well, I
dude
mean,
in
Saved by the
a.
Bell came on. We didn't have to watch that at the class.
There you go. We were like,
Sorry.
I don't relate to these really smart teenagers in New York City. I don't relate to these people either, but they're prettier or whatever. Like, where was our show, Heather?
I told you, SoCal won. SoCal won.
Well, I
Even
was
though
gonna
head
bring
of the
this up.
class.
Like in the SoCal fight, like remember, like you have the whole Charles in Charge phenomenon, right? Like in the first season, you have, this family that's like, all the kids are brown headed and the mom's red headed and da da da. And then the next family that comes in are like all blonde. So like they just completely replace the like kind of middle America family with like blonde, whatever,
Californians.
Californians.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and then plus that like whole nostalgia of like the 50s too, right? So like with the Max and like if you think about like the Peach Pit and like the diner
Right.
that Charles ends up working at and that his mom worked at, like that same kind of like 50s diner nostalgia vibe too. So,
Well, the 80s definitely had 50s nostalgia.
yes. So, anywho, yeah. So, head of the class, yeah, I remembered it. I remember thinking fondly of it, like when I think about it.
Yeah.
And
What'd you think about Dennis?
I mean, I thought he was like token smart ass fat kid. Like, yeah. Like honestly,
You want me to ruin your life?
what did he do?
He's the Nickelodeon guy that they made quiet on the set
I was
about.
so just about to be like, did he touch a kid? like in my head was like, did he touch a kid?
I mean, allegedly, because apparently he's suing the shit out of everybody that made that documentary, but yeah. I was like, oh. Because I was
I
like, oh,
see
he's
it
kind of
now.
charming and cute. And then I was like, wait a minute. Because I started looking him up and I'm like, wait a minute. He was
Yeah,
an
that tracks now.
executive.
Because like I saw like images because I never watched that documentary because that's
Yeah,
not how I
I
need to
didn't
spend my
watch
free
it.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, some of the things I really liked about the show were that the kids were smart.
Yeah.
And the teacher was smart.
Mm-hmm.
And challenged them. I like that a lot. Which episodes did you watch?
So I went ahead and I watched the first episode. And then I watched episode 13 of season 1. And I chose that one because it's the one where I'm not gonna remember all the characters' name. Eric, so like the like guy that's there but he doesn't want to be there. Like he's smart but he's mad that he's smart.
Yeah, the punk kid or whatever.
Yeah, like he gets into like an altercation with the teacher. And so that like spoke to me. Not because I've ever been in an altercation with teachers, but I know that there are teachers out there who like cannot stand to let a student win. Right? Who like get into those battles. And it was really good because like honestly it wasn't like it was okay, but it wasn't. So it's like, this teacher's like fried. He's like, oh, these kids are just, and I'm like, dude, if you're that, like, quit. Like, please promise me if I ever get to that point where all I can tell you is about how much I hate my job, that you will tell me to quit or to like move on. Like, that is the point.
I'll just steal you.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Let's just take you away.
Because that's the point. Like, if you hate being here, you need to leave. Like, it doesn't matter, right? Or if you hate teenagers, like, stop being a teacher. Like, if you hate kids, go do something else.
Yeah.
Like, teenager are asshole, get over it. So he's like all frazzled and fried, and so like the kids were talking about how like they all like to give him a hard time, but Eric, Eric's the worst. Like Dennis does it too, but not as much as Eric, and then like all of a sudden like the teacher ends up putting him in a headlock. Like you don't see it, but like you hear about it.
Ooh.
And then of course the principal's like, it's like the teacher comes into like the office and is like telling everyone in the office what happened, and the principal's like, all right, everybody out except you and Mr. Moore, like whatever his name is, the teacher. Like I don't know why he got to stay. Like, what is he? Is he your union rep? Like what? Why is he in there?
Because he was in WKRP in Cincinnati, so he gets to be in every scene.
Like, this is my union rep.
This is in his contract.
And he's like, you didn't hear anything, you didn't see anything, you didn't hear anything, you didn't see anything. And he's like, these problems work themselves out. And and the teacher's like, you're not gonna do anything, you're just gonna let this fester, da 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 da. And he's like, 9 times out of 10 I call the parents and they are happy that say their kid probably deserved to have a teacher hit them.
Jesus.
I know. And then the one time, then they come in and, it's fine after that. God. So the principal was really making me feel all kinds of ways about all kinds of things. So
he is a tool.
Yeah. So, like, I did watch the Russia episode later, and he says the same thing. Like, you didn't see anything, you didn't hear anything. Is this, like, what? Anyways. So, basically, like, Mr. Moore is, like, does that a reverse psychology teaching him a lesson, because like the Eric kid's like, I could teach better than any teacher in this school, like I'm so smart, and so then he's teaching a lesson and Eric's going and he's like, hey, why don't you teach this? And then gets up and he's like heckling him and giving him a hard time, and like to the point where Eric like almost wants to punch him, and it's like, teaching's hard, I should be more thoughtful. So so in the first episode, I like that he like his point is to be a catalyst to them, to like teach them life lessons, probably because I see a lot of myself in that, like especially when I first started teaching AP classes. And I had a lot of these students who were like, melting down, taking caffeine pills or something, like, like I have to make a perfect score, like a perfect grade. I'm like, is this your parents? Like, no, it's me. And I'm like, perfection's not like a real thing, right?
It doesn't actually exist, right?
Yeah, like you're going to make mistakes. Like I'm like the best thing that ever happened for super high achieving AP kids as far as teachers go. Because I'm like, oh, cool, you got a B, that's good. And they're like, I'm like, but like, do you know the content? Like, it's okay. So in the first episode I really liked that he's like, go live your life, go to the dance, go do what you want to do. Like, it's not all about like I do think the baseball thing was a little overdone. Like, it was like, oh great, another white man talking about history.
I didn't watch it, but
because he's like, so they're talking about,
was he talking about how like a black baseball player was better or famous or something?
No. It's not even that good. It's about like, he's like, what really caused the Cold War was this, and he's holding up a baseball, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, and he like keeps trying to tell him, and he keeps getting interrupted throughout this episode. And then finally it's like, he's like, I'm only here for 2 days, like da da da. It's like the end of his second day, and like the super nerdy history kid's like, Mr. Moore, tell us about the baseball. And it was like basically like Fidel Castro tried to play Major League Baseball and was told he wasn't good enough when he went out for a Major League team. And then he became Fidel Castro.
Like Hitler in painting.
It's exactly what I thought. That's like, oh, if only he'd made the team, maybe the like the Cuban Missile Crisis, when the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis never would have happened. Because like his whole thing is about like these moments. Life isn't about facts. It's about and history is not about facts. It's about moments and experiences and people who happen to cross paths. And
Yes, and.
Yes, and. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I watched episode 19 of season 1 called Video Activity, where they were supposed to put together something to go into a vault time capsule that was going to be opened in the year 20 blah 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 whatever.
Have you seen,
And
I'm sorry, have you seen that meme? I think it's on Facebook, but it's like, man, I don't know what lies I told, but I really thought that I'd be opening a lot more time capsules in my adulthood than I have been.
we buried a lot of them.
A lot of time capsules.
So Mr. Moore was wearing an amazing tie, so I was excited about that.
He did have a lot of
And
amazing ties.
I forgot that Robin Givens was in the show, so I was very excited to see her.
Yes.
And then I was sad because there were way too many mullets. Like, there were so many mullets. And then Mr. Moore had a mullet with a rat tail, which was, like, next level.
Nothing is better than a balding old white man with a mullet and a rat tail. Like, what the fuck, my man, my dude?
So, of course, the principal thinks that the whole thing should be a video about him and how great he is. And the kids are like, this sucks. But it was really funny because they, like, had him reading from cue cards, and they were trying to get him to pay attention and get his mark and all that stuff. And all I could think about was when it was COVID and Dad was Santa, and we were trying to get him to record that video.
I have all those videos still in my phone.
I have a video of all of it happening. It was so good. And if anyone has a time capsule that you need a video for, I will give you that video to put into the time capsule. It was really good.
Oh my god.
And then in Mr. Moore's classroom, there was an amazing Kenneth Herring poster that said Free South Africa. Did you see that in your episode?
I don't think I did.
Oh, so good. And it just had like this giant black person like standing on the neck of this tiny little white person. I was like, oh, so good. We didn't have that in Denton, Texas.
No, you didn't have that in the Gifted and Talented or Expo or whatever the fuck they call it.
So the thing is, I think part of the reason I like this show is because they were all really smart, and I'm smart. And I just remember like never feeling so snobby as when senior year they moved us from the Gifted and Talented, the Expo English, into AP English.
Yeah,
because we were AP curious, and they brought the honors English in, and I was like, who are these idiots? Honors English kids were so fucking stupid. Shit. They didn't know a metaphor if it hit them in the face. I was like, are you sure they're in honors? Sure? I don't know.
that's why we had to stop giving extra GPA points for advanced electives.
Oh man, I mean, the kids that I went to school with were like, I'm taking PE as like a correspondence, so it doesn't count toward my GPA, because you couldn't get extra points for PE.
Yeah, like, we had kids that did that. Before, because 3 years ago we got rid of valedictorian. So there's no,
really?
there's no GPA as far as like valedictorian. Like there's no class ranking. It's the laud system. So there's like the magna summa and cum laude.
Our valedictorian, it was a tie between this super like straight-laced white girl and this kid who was like a coke addict. Like, well, one of them is going to give a more interesting speech. I know that much.
Well, I mean, the thing that would happen at our school, because we have that special program that feeds to our school, is that the kids who ends up giving the speech doesn't know 97% of the kids sitting in the audience. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you don't need to be giving a speech. Like, congratulations, well done. Yeah. So now it's any kid that is like cum laude or above can do an application to give the speech.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah.
So then at one point somebody makes a Pink Flamingos reference, and that was amazing.
Wow.
I think it was the principal even. And then in the end, they end up making their own video, and then they argue the merits of the video to the principal so that it gets to go in. And it is a music video for The Future's So Bright I Gotta Wear Shades. which I don't know how they got the rights for that song. And the whole thing was like late 80s computer graphics. They're imagining of what the world would be like.
Oh.
And that guy, Eric, the punk kid, played every instrument in the band. Like the rock band that was performing. And then the girls were all like dancing and wearing like, you know, less clothing than the boys. And I was like, of course they are.
Like
So
even the girl
stupid.
with the braids, the child?
She wasn't there, it was the other girls. But
Oh, okay.
and then the other thing I noticed is in addition to the mullets, a lot of the cast have that turned up mouth thing. That's so cute. You okay.
That
You know
like
the guy
literally
that...
like Jack Black?
No. Yep, they all look like Jack Black. They're really cute. Did you watch a second episode of Head of the Class?
I told you I watched the first episode and I watched the one where the kid gets put in a headlock and taught a lesson.
Oh, that was it? Oh, so you
I'm
don't have
sorry,
any more
I talked
to
about
tell
both of my episodes. I shot my load. Sorry, friend. I started the one
I
on
watched...
the Russia trip, but then like I was so I was watching these on Elliot's tablet while he watched Harry Potter, or no, he was watching something else. Oh no, he was watching the Polar Express
Oh, okay, yeah.
on the TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on his tablet watching that as a class with headphones on.
Okay.
And he was like, "What are you watching?" And you know, so by the time we started watching the Polar Express ended, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll come back to this, and I did not. But the Rush episode seemed fun.
Yeah, I mean, not really, but...
When he was looking for bugs, because he was like, the Russians are going to try so hard to win, like...
so they did like 2 different trips to Russia. So yeah, so
Oh.
I watched the episode back in the USSR. But
Oh,
there
so
was
you
the
watched
mission...
I watched the original one, I guess, or the first.
Yeah, I watched season 3. So the mission to Moscow Part 1 was the first American sitcom filmed entirely in the USSR. So that was interesting. Yeah, I liked that it was about smart kids who were allowed to be smart, but the whole hostile work environment thing with Dan Schneider just kind of soured me on the entire show
I feel
for the
like
rest of my life.
Mayor Humdinger might be based on the principal character.
They're similar. But then again, if you think about it, like, Jessie Spano and her caffeine pill thing to be perfect is the same thing as, like, Liv Tyler and that fucking whatever.
Empire Records, yeah.
Empire Records movie, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell the audience the thing that I told you this week that we were like, no, shut up? What movie did I tell you was in the Criterion Collection?
Can't Hardly Wait is in the Criterion
That's right.
Collection.
Or at least it's on the Criterion channel.
That's like
yeah,
an
baby.
honors kid going to an AP class.
It is.
Actually, fuck that. That's like a gen ed kid AP class. It'd be like, oh.
Love that movie. It was on my tape of shame.
Oh, it's a great movie.
Empire Records, Spice World, Can't Hardly Wait. Tape of shame. So good.
Empire Records is amazing.
I know.
Pivotal.
It's true.
Pivotal. Goddamn it.
90s, so
yes.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah. No,
we'll get there.
You brought it up.
We'll get there.
But, yeah.
Did I bring it up? That's it for this episode of I Love You, But I might need to go somewhere, so I'm going to end the podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for reminiscing, going back to the max with us. Thinking about Zack Attack and whatever you remember from Head of the Class if you even watched that show.
Hold on. Wait, before you do that, okay, I was just thinking about the episode you watched. He had to get a wake-up service call, and like the fucking theme of the song starts with when the alarm gives out a warning. When you wake up in the morning and the alarm gives out a warning and you think you'll never make it on time. I guess that's why, because he wanted to make it on time, so he hired someone to call him and wake his ass up.
Yeah, that's right. And then they call back and say, have a great day, Zach. And then he goes and winks at the camera and is like, it's extra, but it's worth it.
Does that when he goes and gets a massage too, I bet.
He is the absolute king of give yourself a little treat.
Treat yourself. His whole goddamn life is treat yourself.
So yeah, that's it. That's it for this week of 80s Teens to the Max TV shows. We haven't talked about those in a while. So
We haven't.
next week, I'm pretty sure it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I can't check because we're using new technology. So anyway, if not, it's something else. You'll find out. Who cares? Who knows? Tell us what you thought. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the things. We're on social media. What is my sister doing?
I've just been thinking this whole time how pointy my nose looks from the side.
Oh. No one knows what you're doing. I'm not going to post a video of this.
What happened to our YouTube channel?
What YouTube channel?
You said you started a YouTube channel. You put a post about that on Instagram.
Google killed Google Podcasts.
Video killed the radio star.
So the only way to get on Google now, including YouTube Music, is by creating a YouTube channel. All I have uploaded to it is audio. Although I do like doing the little videos, so I may do more of those. But not on our YouTube channel. And not with you just rubbing your nose, you fucking weirdo.
Sorry, I'm Heather. No, you're Heather.
I'm Heather.
Wait, weren't you supposed to say all the ways they can find us and listen to us and email us?
I kind of said all that. It's fine.
Oh.
I don't have my thing because we're on the new thing. I'm Heather.
I'm Rian, and we wish you lots and lots of conditional love.